What's up, guys? So today I bring you a, I guess, me resuming the story of the stuff that's happening in my life, I guess. And I just want to get it out of my system because it got to me today. And is it me or does it sound echoey here? Anyway, so hey, Garuda. So yesterday, as soon as I finished streaming, I was getting ready to go out and have my car looked into, fixed, whatever. Of course, I was not able to do that immediately because I received a phone call from my job in which they are asking me for my help and advice because a problem took place. And of course, only Zam apparently knows how to do anything anywhere. But anyways, not to sound like I'm full of myself, but yeah, basically I spent like 20 minutes on the phone trying to help someone get their life together, which it's all right. I mean, I was there at some point. I was the one practicing, training, learning, new to the job, so I get it. But it's like, of all days in the week, of all seasons that this had to happen, it has to happen right now when I am being bombarded with everything. So, anyways, after that was done, I finally take off to go to the place that I was recommended to go to have my car issues checked. So, initially, they tell me that at least there's nothing wrong with my brake pads. So, they look at the rotor or rotors and they tell me, it looks like they could use some resurfacing, a little bit of polishing here and there, and that should take care of the problem. Good. An hour and a half later, I get my car back, I start driving it, and of course, I start testing the brakes. And the noise is there. It's still there. So I'm like, at least it's not as bad as it was. Like, it used to be that as soon as I started hitting my brakes, it's like it would make this squeaky sound that it sounded like a shit ton of seagulls. And then I'm like, at least I don't feel like I'm in so much danger while driving, right? Well, today I start driving again and I feel like the noise is not as present. Like, I actually have to apply a certain degree of pressure to be able to find that so-called noise. So I'm like, okay, apparently the squeak is not necessarily getting worse, but at the same time, before it turns into a bigger problem, clearly there is something wrong because that's not supposed to happen. So at my job, someone asked me, you kind of look like you got something in your mind, what's going on? And I tell them about my car problems and they suggest to me to go to a new mechanic. So throughout my shift, this happened earlier on, throughout my shift, that's all I could think about. And it doesn't help that today my shift started 30 minutes earlier because we had a meeting to go to. And I'm like, great, I could not sleep that well. Like, when I woke up, I jolted and I was like looking at the time because anytime I have an earlier than normal shift, I get kind of like stressed out. It's like, okay, that my alarm failed to go off, this and that. It's like all kinds of negative thoughts and anxiety that just happens, and then my chest just gets tight and I cannot handle anything in life. Plus, I'm in physical pain. This thing on my head is getting bigger, and it's because I keep messing with it and squeezing it and rubbing it and stabbing it. So I'm like, great, I think I am harming myself physically more than I need to be, but I cannot help it. It's there. I can feel it. It protrudes. But anyways, so after work, I pretty much darted out of the door and I was finally able to go to the second mechanic that I was recommended to go to. And of course, he is like busy beyond capacity. So he's like, I'm sorry, I would like to help you, but we're kind of super busy right now. Can I get you to come in tomorrow? And I'm like, good. Yes, sure. I'll come tomorrow. I need help. This is urgent. This is stressing me out. And fortunately, tomorrow I happen to have a shift that starts at noon as opposed to early in the morning. So I'll look at that as divine intervention of here's your opportunity. This person has already committed to helping you tomorrow early in the morning, first thing. So Now it's like, okay, girl, just get up in the morning, find that energy, be ready, be the first person at pretty much the crack of dawn, and have this car fixed and looked into, and hopefully, God willing, it's not something terrible to where it dents my finances, because today I was able to look ahead at what kind of paycheck I'm going to have tomorrow. And of course, because the dead months are approaching, my paycheck definitely suffered because I ended up getting an extra day off, and I'm like, fantastic. This is the season when it's like my great grandfather used to say, cows tend to thin out. They tend to get really skinny. It's like production is really low and consumption seems to be on a decline as well. So I'm like, fantastic. That's all I needed to make matters worse. Just a lot of problems that definitely require money to resolve, and now it's like issues that I wasn't necessarily anticipating. Stuff is just happening. But anyways, I believe in myself. I have faith. Everything is going to be all right. It's just that everything just happening at the same fucking time. It's always in the spring, always. I love it because the weather gets nice, and it's just I love that because I cannot function when I'm in a miserable weather type of thing. But at least on the plus side, I am also losing weight because I gained a lot of weight over the winter. I gained like 26 pounds. And I'm like, okay, now does that mean I am losing weight because I'm doing things right, which I haven't really done much that's different? Like, I've definitely been eating more veggies than normal, but it wasn't that different from what I was doing already. So I'm like, is it my condition getting worse? Or is it legit good weight loss due to exercise and dieting and all that mess that I'm used to doing? So hopefully it is truly because I am like more mindful of what I eat and trying to control my stress, but I'm like, control my stress. Right. With all this bullshit happening. But anyways, guys, I thought that I would put this out there and just decompress. I'm not going to keep making videos like this regularly. It's just that it helps me a lot. But yeah, let me see what you guys are saying in the comments. And it's possible, very possible, that Dusty is going to start clawing through the door. So you can totally anticipate that at some point. I am here to listen. The audio is good. Yeah. I am not a mechanic, but it might be an axle. I'm not entirely sure what the axles on a car are. I'm not going to pretend that I know what each part of the car does beyond the tires and the gas tank. But now that you mention that, it may not be exactly directly the brake that's causing a problem. It's when I apply a certain amount of pressure. It's not too much, it's not too light, it's like in the middle. It just starts, it almost sounds like something is coming loose. It sounds like when the tire completes a revolution, the pitch changes on this little squeak. So at least this mechanic that I am going to see tomorrow, he was like, oh yeah, we're gonna, take the tires apart and look into it and drive it around. And I'm like, please, let me drive it so that you can find and hear for yourself what I am talking about. Because the mechanic I went to yesterday, for some reason, was not believing me entirely on my claim. He was like, well, the brake pads are fine. I can see that the rotors could use some resurfacing, but I called him when I got home and I said, yo, the noise is still there. Should I be concerned? And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm sorry that happened. Da, 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 da. Bring it by at some point whenever you can so that I can try to correct that for you. And I'm like, please don't let this turn into a cycle where I have to keep going back and forth to the mechanic to try to find what the issue is, and we cannot just fix it because that's something that may be stupid may end up being costly because of the labor of constantly having to go back because the problem's not being fixed. So to me it was strange that they did not ask me to drive it, or they did not drive it themselves to see what I'm talking about. because I'm like, okay, you told me I don't need brake pads. You told me my rotors are, except for a little bit of like resurfacing to do, they were fine. So, do you not think that maybe I should show you what the problem is? Especially since I'm not an expert in cars, like, I can hardly describe how it is that, they function. I know how to drive them, like, oh, I take pride in my driving, but like the tech aspect of it, I know nothing. So it's already difficult for me to tell them what the issue is. So I have to sort of like act it out. Like it goes like wow, 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 wow. So, but anyways, I think that it might be the next part that neighbors the brakes. If that's the axle, then that is probably what it is. But it just sucks. I always feared this because when I got this car, I said, whenever I start having problems with it, I'm going to get screwed and probably scammed if I'm not careful because I just don't know anything. And the only connection that I had in my personal circle who was into cars, like, we're not in touch anymore. So I'm like, yeah, I'm screwed. I'm screwed. But anyways, everything will be okay. I just gotta keep doing my part, which is take the car to the mechanic. Find a mechanic friends, axle issue. On my way to work, just wanted to say hi. Hi, but you probably already know that. Yeah, Jordan, you're definitely missed. Did you check your leg nuts on the wheels? If it's making that noise, it might be the CV joint. I don't know. I'm hoping they did. I would imagine that they did that if it involves like removing the entire tire and all of that stuff. They definitely did an entire, unscrewing of everything down there. So I'm assuming so. Because I would imagine that if something was loose on those parts, they took care of it. If it's reachable, like a part of the tire and the rim and the rotor and the brake and all that, they definitely took that apart. So I'm hoping that they must have tightened something because the noise is not as bad as it was. So they got a little bit of the problem, but the main issue clearly persists. Anyways, veggies are delicious. I can make some veggie more tasty than candy. The axle is basically the pipe that connects two tires. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I know that now. It's like a pole and then the tires are it's like that bar that you lift. One end has the weights and the other end has more weights. That makes sense. For some reason I thought the axle might be like the shocks, that little curly looking thing. Whatever holds the curly looking thing to the tire might be the axle. I don't know. I don't even know how to describe what I'm looking for unless I go outside and point at it if I can reach it and like what is it? Flash some light into it. What car problems? No fun. Yeah, definitely not fun because now at least this mechanic guy whom I'm going to see, he's like a stone's throw away from where I work. So all I would have to do is drive there, leave the car. And they even said that they can drop me off where I work because pretty much 70% of the people I work with go to him. So I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about my car being away from me long term or semi long term. Semi long term meaning more than 12 hours. Anyways, I think he is right. Is the car a Toyota? Yes, the car is an indestructible Toyota, but I'm also thinking maybe I drove over a pothole really bad or something. But anyways, I'm pretty sure they'll figure it out. Like, they are definitely smarter than me. So I cannot even begin to suggest what I think the problem might be. It's not like I can diagnose it. Like, oh yeah, I had a bad diet, therefore my stomach is going to be hurting, or something like that. So yeah, you guys, I'll keep you posted as minimally as I can because I know this is boring, especially when I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, at least I'm filming about it. This is the first time I have car trouble like this. It's not broken down on me. It's not like, oh my god, my brakes feel like they're going to give out at any time. I can still brake normally. Nothing about it feels off. It's just that fucking noise that won't go away. So, what year? 2013. Actually, it turned 6 years old on the 30th of this month. That was fast. Yeah, I almost cannot believe it. Well, guys, that's pretty much it. I intend to return with a better topic. I don't think I can do it within the hour because I'm pretty sure that this went on for a little longer than I meant to. And then I also got a couple of phone calls to make. But yeah, I'll be back. If not today, tomorrow for sure. Zam, I hope you get these car troubles resolved. Have a good day. Thanks a lot. I'm pretty sure everything will be fine. It's just that I need this mug to be fixed so that I can get it inspected so that I can buy my stupid state mandated tags. You know, like that sticker that you put on your license plate. Then ask a Toyota professional at a dealership. No, no. I am deliberately trying to stay away from the dealership because they are freaking overpriced. Like to diagnose something, you know, it gets mad expensive quickly. So if this guy cannot figure it out, then that's when I'll make the sacrifice of going to Toyota like I have always done. But to me, paying close to $80 on a Corolla for a tire rotation, oil and filter change, and what else do they do? Anyways, those little basic things, no, I'm pretty sure that I am getting ripped. Okay, it seems like I'm back now. I thought about that. I'm like, sure, let me go to Toyota and they can tell me what is wrong and I can take it somewhere else. But again, I'm pretty sure that the issue may be silly on the surface. And I thought about that. I'm like, what if I go to Toyota and just ask them to tell me what the problem is? Because usually they do that. They're like, oh, so we found this. Like, we found the hole in your tire is fixable. We're just going to put a patch on it and, you know, keep going. But that's not a bad idea. I may consider that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I just want to not think about this anymore. But I'll let you know how that goes. All right, guys.